Okay. Hi, everyone. I just got to do my final adjustments and then we will go ahead and get started. As you can see, we definitely have a slightly different layout and format, but I'm thinking it should work for a life drawing session. So, as always, when we get started, I like to know where you guys are watching from. So, if you could put in the comment section, and then we'll go ahead and get started in a few minutes once everyone joins in. And I had someone ask me, do you want it to be traditional or digital? And for this session, it really doesn't matter. If you do traditional, it would still be cool if you posted on the link below. But if you do digital, you can just save them as JPEGs or PNGs and then throw them up on that post below. I think I got everything covered. Okay, I think we can get right into it. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Von Rieden from cgcookie.com, and every Wednesday we do these live streams. Usually I post a topic an hour or two beforehand, but we do these every Wednesday, and this one's a little special because this one's more of a participation live stream, and this one was suggested last week. I wish I would have screen capped who said it, but a user suggested the idea of doing a live drawing session all together, and I really liked it, so I jumped on board, and here we are. So if you are wanting to do this today, I'll give you a minute or two to kind of set up, just like open a canvas in Photoshop or whatever digital software you're working with. Or if you're going to do this traditionally, get your pencils, pen, or paper together, and we'll get started in just a minute here. The only news I have on my end is for those of you who came to last week's live stream and saw the thumbnails that we started, I actually did finish the illustration. It was something that I wasn't 100% proud of. There was a lot of digital techniques that I think I was doing that I know I shouldn't be. But for those of you that wanted to see what it looked like, here was the final Kubo illustration. And the contest ended on Sunday night, so we won't know who wins for another week or two. I think it's actually the end of November is when the results go out. So I want to thank everyone who encouraged me on this because I was feeling pretty low about the end result. But I'm also going to be writing on CG Cookie an article about how you can use your disappointment as creative fuel. So for those of you who have felt this and are interested in maybe reading my experience with it, I will be posting that sometime late November. Okay, and for all of you that are new to these live streams, if you have a question, feel free to ask. It doesn't have to be specifically about life drawing. It could be about anything related to art, whether it's concept art, school, just any tips or techniques, specifically with life drawing, I guess, for this session. And we always get funny questions as well, so feel free to add your humor and puns. I'm definitely a fan of them. And today, for my tea drinkers out there, I am rocking peppermint. I think it's actually called pure peppermint tea. So I don't know why anyone would drink unpure peppermint tea, but that is what I am drinking for our life drawing session. Ooh, still too hot though for me. Okay. Oh yeah, and then if you have a question, please put at CG Cookie Concept before the question, and I will be sure to see it. I know with this life drawing session, I'm going to be pretty focused on what I'm drawing since we only have minutes for even some of them. So I'll still be looking in between each, and we're going to take a break between each recording. So the way that this is going to work, because I've never done something like this on Twitch before, so this is kind of new for me as well. So obviously, if this was a perfect world, I would be in a classroom with all of you. We would have a live model that we can I'll look at from different angles, and we would be there, our presence would be there, and we would see the light and form and how it would slightly shift when the model shifts. But we don't have that luxury, so we're going to have to do this online. The one that I'm going to be using today is called artist.pixellovely.com, and it's this website here. And I actually really like this because you can pick the cover and clothing, what genders, but the thing that's most important is there's time intervals that you can choose from. And today we're going to break it down into 5 separate timings. We're going to do a minute one, we're going to do 2 minutes, a 5 minute, 10 minute, and a 30 minute. Now you can see on the top here, I have them broken up. You can see how we have 1, 2, and 3. And that's because in between each of those little break lines is when we're going to actually take a break. I'll give you guys about 3 to 5 minutes to shake your hand around, post your images on the post, whatever you need to do to kind of recharge for the next session. And the way that I'm going to be working this is I'm going to be drawing on my canvas side here. There is going to be a model that will be appearing on the left side of the screen, and we will be working from the same model. So I almost encourage you not to look at mine so much, and I really want you to focus on yours. And I'll be talking through it and then giving suggestions, but for the most part, really try to find the form within what you're drawing. Life drawing is such an important class. Honestly, this was the most important for me when I was in college. I learned the most. I learned about anatomy, proportion, form, lighting, the nuances in organic forms. And I believe that if you go to art school, this would be one of the main reasons I would encourage it. There's a lot of, I would say, cons about going to art school, but the one thing I did enjoy was my life drawing session. Now, you don't have to go to school to do a life drawing session. They also have life drawing sessions at local art stores. I actually went to one at a framing store. It was in the basement. It seemed a little shady at first, but I got there and yeah, there were just a group of about 10 to 20 artists, and then there was a model on a couch in the middle, and yeah, for 2 hours you can draw. And I think there was a cover charge of $5. Now, I don't know how common that is for everywhere around in the world, but I know in America it seems pretty common. You just have to find it. So if this is something that interests you further or more, and you want to do more character type stuff, I definitely encourage you to do as much life drawing as you can. Actually, this has been the first time I've done a life drawing session in over a year actually, and I really need it, as I'm sure a lot of you feel similar. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get started. Now, the one thing, actually, before we start though, while you're doing this, try your hardest not to focus on the details. That's the worst way to go about doing a life drawing session. And I always talk about how you want to capture the energy of the figure more so than the figure itself, especially in these early minute drawing and 2 minute drawings. You don't want to be focusing on, is the shoulder looking accurate in its anatomy? You want to be looking at the pose as a whole and looking at the energy that model is bringing to whatever pose they're in and trying to capture that in either your digital or traditional form. So usually when I start off, I like to have kind of a motion line or a center line, and then I build my figure around it. And I'm not caring if my proportions are off. I don't care if the details don't read well. As long as the energy is there, that's what I care about most. Now, when we get into the 5 minute ones, and then especially in the 10 to 30 minute ones, I do want you to take that energy and then lay those fundamentals of value and form and proportions into the mix and really try to capture the figure. But if you don't capture the energy first, it almost gets lost in translation when you try to do the more realistic detailing. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to do nude models because one, I found out we can't on Twitch. We can't do nude stuff, or at least that was the impression I got from my research. And two, I know that there are a lot of younger students watching, and I don't know if it was completely appropriate, even though I find doing this kind of, thank you, Saul Montes, for following. Even though I see life drawing not so much as an exposure to the human body, I see it as an art form that is captured in whatever medium you're using. So when I see a naked body, I don't see just a human flesh form. I literally see the curves and nuances in the shapes and the language that it's bringing to me. So if you're someone that's not comfortable with life drawing, I really try to encourage you to maybe see the beauty behind it instead of just seeing a naked form. And then I also had someone message me about how they cannot participate because of their beliefs or morals. And I can respect that, but just know, even with today's life drawing session, we're going to be doing clothed models. And I really, really want to emphasize, don't put too much emphasis on the clothing. I really want you to focus on the forms underneath of it. So we're going to go ahead and start off with our 60-second drawings. We're going to do 10 of them. And okay, let me get situated with my Cintiq here. I also found it almost crucial for me to do this in digital because after Drawloween, I felt so good with my traditional stuff, but then doing that Kubo illustration, I could tell I was very rusty with my digital. So I'm doing this kind of to get me back into the flow of doing more digital work again. I mean, I'll still do a lot of traditional, but I could tell my digital skills were slipping quite a bit. Okay, so I hope you guys are all ready to start this, and we're going to do our 60-second ones. Now, after our 10 60-second ones, I'm going to take a quick break just so that everyone can kind of refresh, turn the page, whatever they need to do. But then we're going to jump right into the 5 2-minute ones. So don't spend too much time in between those. And after the 2-minute ones are over, then we'll take that 3 to 5 minute break and get resituated. Whew. Okay, sorry for all that talking, but are you guys ready? Let's do this. And yes, I will be answering questions. Don't think that you can't ask questions during this live stream, but it'd probably be best to ask them in between the breaks so that we can, I can kind of see the questions and then I can get to them while I'm drawing. And I'm really glad that all of you are drinking so many good sounding teas. I really like the black tea with honey one. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to do decent models. We're going to do both genders, standard, and we're going to do 60 seconds. All right, so everyone please get their pencils and or digital pens out. Let me take one more sip of tea, and then we'll get going. Ooh, still too hot, though. All right. And we're off. All right, so now remember, for these, you definitely don't want to be focusing on the details, and try not to focus too much on the wardrobe. Like here, I'm not even going to really bother with the wings. I'm going to focus more on her stance. She's a very powerful, lean. And if I get a little quiet during these, it's because I'm really trying to focus. And often when I do this kind of stuff, I tend not to talk as much, which I'm sure for you guys is unusual that have come to these streams a lot. I can definitely ramble. And then try to look at, like, I know you each are kind of focused on your own drawing, but look at the drawing and really see where proportions line up. Like her head pushes farther out than her torso. So I want to bring that further out than I originally had it. Oh, we're already on the next one. See, I was too stiff. I gotta break it up. I'm not the biggest fan of the morph suit ones. I think when we get into the longer timed ones, I'm going to actually skip these. But they still give a good energy focus, which I do appreciate that for the shorter sketches. Like immediately I want to start editing all my fingers and making them read as fingers, but I want to capture this movement more than anything. And please, if you are able to, put on some relaxing music in the background. I'm not able to for copyright reasons, but normally I would definitely suggest listening to like a calming relaxation playlist type music to do this to. We got a ninja. Also got an airplane, apparently. Remember, big strokes, use your arm, not your wrist. Trust me, I know how hard that can be. Make sure you plant that foot. He has a pretty grounded foot there. Ooh, okay. We got some perspective going here. You can see how like something like this, I really love the shadow work. And I think for our longer sketches, I want you to kind of take the extra effort to capture the area around him. There's such a contrast with the dark backdrop and then his body. And I think that would be really fun to capture. But for this, we still have to focus on kind of loosening our arm up, training our eye to see the motion, and we'll work from there. If you find yourself going slow or you're putting like 13 or more seconds on a specific area, move on. You got to keep it moving. Actually, I'm going to make mine smaller here. Started too big. Ah, yeah, here's another one. I really like these contrast ones. I could do without the gun, but try to really capture the arc of his back, and then his body, it's leaning forward toward the camera. So it's definitely going to appear a bit larger than that leg that's in that, not the foreground one, but the one that's pushing back. Oh, and you got such a nice twist of the body from the upper to the lower. Well, I thank you, autistical bino platypus, for following. That was tough for me to say while doing this. Oh, okay. So now this is a good, strong, standard concept art pose. I like neutral backgrounds like this as well. As much as I love the black backdrop for seeing the kind of contrast melt into one another, I still really love the standard gray background for the neutral almost set scene, so you can really see the edge of the forms here. And he's got a very strong shape language within his body, but then this tarp or whatever the heck he's wearing around his waist definitely brings a very rectangular shape to break up these more curvature forms. Ooh, wow. I really like this one. I wish this could have been one of our long poses, actually. Ooh, wow. This is a great pose, too. Maybe I'm just so impressed with poses because when I was in art school, the models that we had weren't exactly the most expressive, I'll just say. And these are definitely way more interesting than what I received back in school. Oh, and this is one of the few ones where I really like the weapon edition. And he definitely has a lot of muscular anatomy that we could go into if this was more of a longer pose. But like I said, even I'm getting kind of trapped with trying to render things out when I know I should just be capturing the pose and the energy. Oof, man. They're really pushing some foreshortening ones on us here. Oh, this one has such great shape language here. We got one more after this. We're almost done, guys. Yeah, this one's a fun one. All right, last one. I gotta make room. Sorry, other sketch. Gotta delete you. All right, standard sitting one. He's picking his teeth with a knife. All right, that's typical, right? He's got some crazy hair too. Well, thank you, TBs, for following. TBs. That name has a buzz to it. Oh, and I'm really sorry for the lack of humor on my part. Okay, we're gonna stop though there. Those were our 10. Let me recount just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Okay. So that was definitely an interesting opener. Oh, I can definitely tell I'm falling into some of my own traps of using too many lines. I need to like break it up, capture the energy more. My intuition always just starts to see the forms and try to capture it. So hope you guys did all right with those. Take a small breather here, and then we're gonna get back into our 5 2-minute ones. And actually, you know what? On the top of the screen here, I'll cross off when we do one. Oops, and cross it off. Let's do purple. And we're about to do the 5 2-minute ones. Oof. Okay, so how do you guys like that? Get warmed up a little bit, kind of get the stiffness out of your sketches. Sleepy Kawaii Mango says, I would suggest using less strokes to convey the energy. You are 100% right. I noticed that as soon as I got in my last one, I was like, oh, this is getting like chicken scratchy. Okay, we're going to jump right into the next one though. We're going to do 2 minutes, so double the amount of time per drawing that we just had. Let's do the same type of session here. We're going to do, what did I put down? 5? Okay, wait, let me make a new layer. Okay. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to make my brush a little larger so that I'm forced not to use as many strokes. All right, guys, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, wait, no, I'm skipping this one. It's way too much clothing. Well, never mind. We'll just go with it. I don't want to get trapped into skipping some back and forth. Ooh, purple. All right. We'll do purple. The other thing I remember being taught in life drawing was try to do a continuous line and keep it swirly. Keep that energy and movement throughout. And my teacher said, especially for me, because I have a habit of doing straight strokes to try to capture the edge of the form, where instead I should be trying to capture more energy within it. Otherwise, my stuff looks pretty stiff. And admittedly, she was very right. Usually my characters are very stiff in their pose, and I need to break that habit. I need to like constantly remind myself while I'm doing my characters to get out of that habit. Now for this one, obviously there isn't much energy at all. If you can't tell, I'm pretty disappointed with this pose. I guess I can work up some of that wardrobe. Actually, maybe I'll do some shadow study on this one. All right, there we go. I'm going to switch back to black. Now, even with such a slight twist like this one, you can still see how his muscles and forms kind of bend and contract, even though it's not that big of a movement here. Now, with that extra time, really try to kind of figure out where am I putting this extra time? What am I doing to my drawing that is utilizing literally double the amount of time that we originally had? Now, for me, I usually like to go in and kind of block out some shadow shapes, but that's not necessarily the right way to do it or the one that I would recommend. It all kind of comes down to what you're looking to improve upon. This one's interesting. This one's a bit dark. I hope you guys can see it on the stream here. This definitely has more of a delicate pose in terms of it has more of like a graceful stance with the pointed toe. Look at this fabric in here. So I hope you guys are seeing how light really plays into the way it affects the overall form of the human body. And it really showcases all the little bumps and curves and angles that we have. But I have mine like pushing away this other guy. Like, nope, can't talk to me right now. Back away with that gun. If you find that you're not able to complete the full figure by the end, then you're probably moving too slow. Like on that one, I can admit I was going too slow. Just keep moving these over. Oh, here's an interesting pose. Devil Shan says, I've never done this before. It's intense! Exclamation face. Yeah, light drawing is, I mean, it's definitely fun, but yeah, it's like while you're in the moment, it can be kind of challenging. And the best part is, though, when you're not feeling one, if you're like, this one's just looking terrible, well, don't worry, because then within the next minute or however long left you have, you get to kind of redeem yourself on the next one. Oof, yeah, that's another good foreshortening one. Oh, yeah, this is our last one. Make this one count. Definitely some interesting angles going on here. And the camera is higher up than the body, or the model in this case. So keep that into account as well. So things like his legs and his feet will actually be a touch smaller than areas like his hands or the head or the arm. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but he's holding like this big black cloth. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's weird. We ended on the same image twice. Oh, that's bizarre. All right, there we go. We got our 5 minutes out of the way. So now this is our first break. So if you want, you can go ahead, save out your images, do whatever you need to. We're going to start up again in 5 minutes. Let me get my little timer out here. Here's our timer. Oops, there we go. All right, so we got 5 minutes, and then we're going to jump into the 2 5-minute ones. Actually, I might change that to 3. No, we'll keep it at 2. We'll stick with our schedule that we got. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off these. Well, thank you, Tommy Ent, for following. Blazard says the image itself is bizarre. Yeah, so for us to like end on this image twice in a row, such a weird, I don't know if that's supposed to be a metaphor or if that's something else there. So I could definitely tell, I don't know how you guys felt about the 2-minute ones, but I personally prefer the 60-second ones over these just because I feel like we still don't have the time necessary to really give it the detail it needs. But that could also just be me being stubborn, because now that I look at them, I'm like, well, I feel like I captured somewhat of the energy going on. The first one, though, mine is garbage. I don't know how your guys turned out. So then if you guys don't know where to submit, I have a link below. It is the submit here box, or submit your drawings box here. Click it, it'll take you to that community forum, and then that's where you can post all of your stuff. I'll be posting all of mine after it's all over, just because I don't want to move my Photoshop too much around, because then I have to recenter it. Like right now I can tell I'm slightly off on the video. There we go. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. 3 minutes, and we're getting going again. This is bizarre for me. I feel like I'm actually teaching a class. I've never really done something like to this extent before. Yes, it's digital says, have you ever done a life drawing session with your own pictures as reference? Yeah. Yeah, actually, the house, the place I live at, we call it Von House, but there's 6 of us artists living here, and it was earlier this year, April, when we hosted a drawing weekend, and Saturday night we had a stage in this room. We had a few of us just go up and take turns and be life drawing models, and yeah, that was the first time I've ever done like our own type of life drawing session. But in terms of just using photos of myself, yeah, I've definitely done that. I feel like almost every big illustration I do, I usually take reference photos of myself, whether it's my arms, whether it's my hands, my body, if it needs to be like in a specific pose on a certain chair, or if I'm interacting with something. I definitely take my own reference pictures, and I encourage that for artists to feel comfortable using themselves as reference. Nebula says, my first guy is looking pretty swanky. Yeah, mine's not looking too swanky. He's a little purple. Sleepy Kwai says, the second 2-minute guy is strong. Yeah, I think that was my favorite. I think I captured the big chunks of form within the body. The other ones I'm not feeling too much. The last one I was starting to feel, but I think I got too wrapped up with the shadow play. Nebula Fox says, will there be a critique? Maybe. I definitely can see everyone critiquing each other. When we did the life drawing session here, everyone like posted their work, and then everyone kind of put in their 2 cents. So when you submit your images, please take the extra time to look at everyone else's, and then maybe comment on it, what you like, what you don't like, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'm sure I'll do some of my own as well. All right, guys, 30 seconds. Flip your page, get a new layer together, whatever you need to do. I'm going to actually name these so I don't get lost in my own layers. Oh, that's new. I didn't know it made a noise. Thank you, clock. Thank you. Oh, I got you. Okay. So now we're going to move into our 2 5-minute sessions here. So let me go ahead and restart our pixellovely.com. 5 minutes. We're going to do 2 of these. So I think it's good to kind of start with that same energy get down, but now we have an extra 3, maybe 4 minutes, depending on how fast you work with the energy capture, to kind of push other details. So I'm going to leave it up to you what exactly you're trying to study. If you're trying to do more of like shadow play, which is I think what I'm going to be doing today, look at the shadows and try to capture the shapes that the shadows make on the body. If you're looking to do something of like maybe your anatomy really needs to work, or you really need to look at the details within the form, then maybe that will be what you focus on. Or if you're doing more line drawing, you want to get more of that energy, like push the initial energy, but then try to capture more of the proportion of the body. Whatever it is that you take, whatever route you take, totally cool. I'm not saying one way is the way we're doing it. So I'm going to leave it up to you, but try to learn from it. Try to do something that maybe you're struggling with, or something you feel you're weak at and you need to strengthen that skill. This is the time to do it. Okay. Are you guys ready? One more step here. Okay. And whoop. Okay, here we go. Oh, you know what though? For these, I'm going to look for more dynamic ones. No. Almost. I want to see more of that body for those of you that are trying to capture more of the human form. Duh, they really want us to do that one, apparently. Almost. Okay, fine. They really want us to do this one. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, I see the ballerina. She doesn't have too much of a energy in her body per se, but her arms and her hands are definitely giving me some emotion. And then both legs are just pointed and straight. I'm going to do my best not to look at the clothing too much. But it'd be hard to ignore the tutu. So I definitely encourage including that. But it's definitely stay focused more on the form of the body. definitely has a very powerful thigh there, and I don't want to underplay the size because they're very strong legs, and I want to capture that. And one of the reasons I'm not having the timer for these shorter ones is I remember my teacher telling me, you're not supposed to worry about the time. Focus on what you're doing. And if you're really into the zone, the time will go quicker than you think. So if there was a timer, you'd constantly be looking at the timer rather than focusing on your work, and that breaks your concentration. So I'm going to follow suit with that, and I'm not going to have a timer. But now when we do our longer ones, though, I will have the timer just because I know this is a live stream where people need to get back to work, or if they have school, they need to leave. So I think it's good for them to at least see how much time is left so that if they want to pick it up later, they can do so when I upload this to YouTube. Oh, I can tell I went quiet because I'm concentrating again. And if you're trying to better yourself too, look at each sketch. Oh, really quick. Oh, we get to do this one again. Okay. That's kind of exciting. This is one of the ones I really liked. But when you're looking at your drawing, and if there's something you really don't like, if you're not feeling it, be competitive with yourself. Try to outdo the drawing that you just did with your next one. It's like this one, I could definitely tell my ballerina was a bit tight, so I'm going to loosen it up. I know that I'll have fun with some of the forms here, so I want to give myself a good foundation to work with. Now, the tricky one for this image in particular will definitely be that front leg. He's definitely got, it's not like a perfect arch to it like his back leg. It has a nice grounded planted foot, but the other one is like on his toe, and that one will be a little bit more difficult. He's got such a nice strong back line. It almost creates like a triangle from his arm and his back. Very interesting shape there. So I usually look at negative space and create shapes with it. So like that arm in the back right now, I just see a gray triangle. So then when I put it in my own work, I try to make sure that I have that triangle preset as well. I'm not just looking at the human body and the form, but I'm also looking at the space around it. Whatever helps you best create the form that you're looking at, use that technique. Utilize it to the best of your ability. Because that's what will make you the best artist you can be is when you start using the techniques and tips that work for you, because not all of them will. Maybe some of you have even experienced that with following tutorials online, and maybe it just was not working. The technique just felt so bizarre and clunky. And then you watch another tutorial and they're like, wow, this is exactly the type of process and method I would be interested in doing. It's all about finding, it's like a process of self-discovery really with art. Now his front foot is actually a little lower than his back foot, surprisingly, in terms of like the level that they're on. Oops. So I've got to make sure I put that front foot more forward. Aye, and that is it. Oh, that's an interesting photo to end on. I'm just going to make mine smaller really quick. Oof. All right. So how did that feel for you guys? You starting to kind of figure out your method of going about doing this? All right. So we're going to take another break before our kind of last big session here. And I'm going to go ahead and resize some of mine. So this one, we're only going to take a 3-minute break. I'm going to grab that timer. Oops. There you are. Do 3 minutes here. All right. Just going to resize what I did. And the more that you do this, I'm sure, I got the sun in my eyes now. I'm sure you'll start to realize, okay, where is my time going? What am I interested in drawing? And the more that you do stuff like this, the more you start to kind of appreciate the artist that you are, but also understand what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, or even like what you're attracted to in drawing. Like I really love contrast and I love edge work. So when I'm doing these drawings, you can definitely see I'm really focusing in on the edges of the human form and giving it that shape that it needs. Nebula Fox said, thanks for reminding me on the negative space. Yeah, always utilize everything that you can within your drawing. Okay, wait, I'm going to move this lamp in front of me so I don't have this blinding sunlight on me. Well, that helps a little bit, actually. Okay, about a little over a minute, and then we're going to go ahead and get started again. Oops. Put that back there. And what did I have for our last session here? A 10-minute and a 30-minute. Okay. Well, I thank you this side of Faverage for following. Or F average, maybe? All right, so a 10 and a 30. And I'll definitely do a cut in between the 10 and 30. I'll give you like 2 minutes in between. So on our next one, I'm definitely challenging you to push yourself even further with this, and then we'll carry into the 30-minute one. I'm going to actually change my background to be more grayscale. That clock, though. Okay, I hear you, clock. I hear you. Nope, I hear you. Okay. So now for this one, I will find a good image. We're going to do 10 minutes. We got one of these. So you guys ready? Shake it off. Get your pencil up. And although I might not use the first one we find. So let's see what we get. Nope. All right. Yeah, this one works. Okay. I'm switching brushes here. I'm trying to mix it up. Usually I perform better when I'm not in such a comfort zone. So using a different brush almost forces my mind to start thinking actively about what I'm laying down, how I'm laying it down. If you kind of find that you also get in like these hang-ups where you're not really digging anything that you're drawing, just try something new. Like force yourself to be different. So then I'm going to use a method of deleting to get some of my edge control, because my brush has such a textured edge to it that I'm going to use my eraser tool to kind of go in and give it more of that solid form. His chest actually has a very light value to it and creates this really interesting contrast from the underside of his arm against that chest area. Yeah, sorry if I get so quiet. I'm concentrating. Blizzard says life drawing is human anatomy only. No, I would say it's most considered. I would say that's what it's most popularly believed as, but I mean, technically, life drawing could just be anything of life. But it's weird. Like some people would consider the bowl of fruit, that would be a still life drawing. That wouldn't be a life drawing. But then if you did like foxes, or if you like saw them in the wilderness, you started to sketch them, some people would consider that life drawing. Some wouldn't. So I mean, I guess it kind of depends on who you talk to. I would say my understanding of life drawing is typically human anatomy. But I'm not saying that it's limited to just human anatomy. I definitely want to capture some of the wrinkles from the swivel of his stomach and then pushing down. The skin is folding on itself. All right, now I'm going to switch over back to my texture brush to really get some of this detail in. I think I'm going to focus more in on the center area of the body. I think there's just a lot of great forms in there that I can capture here. definitely quite a bit of a challenge within that stomach area, because not only does he have the crunching of the skin, but he also does have some abdominal muscles showing, and you want to capture those, but also show them kind of bending with the skin, and you see the skin fold. Oops, I don't want to detail the clothing too much. The legs definitely bring some interesting shapes into the mix, so I'll capture that. So I feel like I definitely also have this weird habit of, when it comes to life drawing, I always like skip the feet and the hands. I'm always like not as interested in those areas. Except when it comes to detailing. I love detailing hands and feet, but when it comes to like the initial part, for some reason I'm just not interested. Oop. That was it. That was very interesting. I thought we actually had more time. I mean, you'll notice how that happens all the time where you're drawing and you're like, okay, I'm probably about halfway through. And then the clock goes off. You're like, oh, well, I guess my internal clock is all wrong. So even with this one, I thought I was going to be able to do some of the face and the weapon, but that's what happens when you get I got a little too tight up in that center area. I really wanted to show the musculature of that in the core area. Okay, so we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to go into our long 30-minute session here. So let me grab my little timer again, if I can find it. Where did you run off to? There you are. All right, so we'll take a 2-minute break. All right, I'm going to run to the bathroom really quick. So BRB, it's from drinking all this pure peppermint tea. So if you need to go to the bathroom as well, or maybe get some tea, go ahead, and we will start up again soon. Thank you. Whew. There we go. Okay. Here we go. We're getting ready for our last one. Putting my glove back on. You guys expected me to be on time. Come on. I'm always just a little late. I'm always there, but I'm always just a little late. Well, I think you Gonzarello Loco for following. All right, so on this one, I actually will have the timer displayed. I think just for those of you that need to see the timer, I'm going to definitely have it on display. I'll put it on the side though. Let me see if I can make this smaller. Yeah, that works. And I'll just have it in the corner there. Or even that's kind of a little big. Let's go ahead and put it maybe near the top. Let me just see how this looks. I feel like it doesn't need to be that big. Oh, okay, I'll just make it smaller. All right, so when that hits the 30 mark, we will go ahead and get started. It's still pretty big, but there's nothing I can do about that. All right, so let's go ahead and find us a new one to get started with. I want to find one that's a bit more dynamic. That one's just black. I almost want to do this one, but I wish we could see the leg form more. Yeah, let me see if I can find. No. Man, a lot of these are not loading on me. What is going on? Let me refresh. Oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. Hold on. Because if anything, I can just find a picture really quick. And you know what? Maybe I'll do that. Actually, that'd probably be a lot easier because then I can find one that has a really nice play of the human body. And don't worry, I'll still find one that is appropriate. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. Oh, this one. Oh, is that too small? Hold on. Almost got it. I'm in the right area of Google search. I don't know why I didn't just use Pinterest or something. Now, if you're specifically looking for life drawing poses, I guess this one's all right. Try to find one that has a good use of contrast, really works with the form and stretching it out. I think I found one. I like it, but let me see if I can have one more minute and just see if I can find one better. I don't want to just rely on the first one that I think is a good find. And I hope you guys are doing all right so far with this life drawing challenge. For those of you who have never done it before, I'm sure this is a definitely interesting opportunity for you. And for those of you who have done it, hopefully this is a refresher in kind of getting back on track. And actually, for those of you who are attending Spectrum Fantastic Art Live next year, not only will I have a booth there, but they do a life drawing session every year. And I always participate in that. So if you'd want to be right next to me drawing some life drawing, I will definitely be attending. All right, we're going to go with this one. We're already wasting enough time. This one's not the best, but it definitely serves the purpose of looking at the shape of the form and the anatomy. So let's go ahead. And we're just going to restart that counter. Okay, so here is the image. I tried to find a good female one, but because we were doing so many male ones, I wanted to switch it up. But this was the best one I could find in the time I had. I just want to make sure it fits so that you guys can see it. Okay, so there's our timer. We're going to go ahead and do this. Sorry about that little delay there. And let me get myself situated. Okay, so in 10 seconds, are you guys ready? And go. So now this one definitely brings its own set of challenges in the sense that it's got a lot of movement. He's not planted on the ground, which obviously isn't the most typical life drawing session, but there's a great look at contrast within his the backdrop and his body with the lighting that they used, and then you can see a lot of contrast with the forms, especially with like the front leg being brought up against the shadow with the back in the other leg. So try your best to capture this. I think I actually might work on a darker backdrop just so I can get more of that mood that this drawing is feeling. And you know what? I'm going to do something I normally don't. Well, I guess first I'll try to capture the energy in a few strokes here. But then I think I'm going to paint on the light. That's something I haven't done with a life drawing piece in a very long time. And if you don't know what that means, you'll definitely see on my screen. But I definitely want you to be focused on yours and capture that pose to the best of your ability. In whatever way that you're capturing it. And then, ooh, yeah, his back arm has like a flexion in the muscles. It's like turning, causing the chest muscle to be pulled up. So I think that studying anatomy is also really important if you want to do any kind of character work. So don't underestimate how important it is to really, really understand how anatomy works in the muscle structure underneath the skin. You can see how he definitely has a much larger upper body compared to his waist area. You want to capture that. Oops. Angie Valda says, when you feel too self-conscious about your art style to actually draw with, Papa Von. Also, he can do it. I believe in you. No, I mean, honestly, guys, this is just a pure study. It's not like I'm super proud of the work that I did so far. There's definitely moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I like how I captured the energy here. But then there's a lot of moments where I'm like, you know what, this one didn't work out so well. But that's good. It's like you're discovering your visual eye. Like, are you trained enough to see the mistakes in your piece? And if you can't, I think that's actually a bigger problem. I think it's good when you can recognize what needs work within your piece. And like what was successful and what wasn't so successful. Actually, it's even more intimidating because the reference that I'm looking at is the one that literally has the timer right under it. So every time I look up, I can see like the ticks, the seconds just like tick away, and feel a little added pressure there. But I'm gonna do my best to ignore it. Oops. I'm gonna turn touch off. I'm definitely having to like look back and reassess my proportions that I laid out. I think I crunched some of the areas in the upper arm. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and try painting on the light here. Oh, I guess we're kind of like in a limbo here, I'll just say I want to thank everyone that came to the casual live streams last week. It was the first time we did them, and they were actually a lot of fun. I definitely plan on doing more in the future. I think once my time de-stresses a little bit, I want to do my swordplay prints on the casual streams. I think those would be fun to do since I'm going to be doing them anyways. Oh, and please post your images when you're done. I think part of growing as an artist is not only feedback from others, but posting your stuff and being like, here's where I'm at right now. I know that there's stuff that I can work on, but this is the best that I could do at the time I was given. And I know there's things that could be improved upon, but hey, this is what I did. I did my work and I'm standing by it. Like even his armpit area has what would be opposite of what would be expected. People just think it's dark and well, I thank you, Toja Dodo, for following. And you can see how it's actually very light. It has this contrast to it. I want to capture that there. And do not be afraid to draw the nipple. Nipples, I should say. Everyone's got them. No need to feel weird about it or even feel weird painting them. Because do you know what is really weird? When you see a drawing that like a male torso and they don't have nipples. I think that's really weird. Okay, we're almost halfway, guys. So I can tell that I can push the detail further in the core section, but there's so much still unrendered that I need to move on. And I think that's the greatest part about life drawing is it forces you to be faster. And like I know that I could make that stomach area look better and more detailed, but look how horrible the rest of the piece looks right now. It's so unfinished. And after 30 minutes, you got to be done. So I don't want to waste my time rendering out one area when the rest of it still needs a lot of help. Yep, sorry. Caught myself not talking for a long time again. Maybe that's good. Maybe we're all having like a good concentration moment together. Definitely has a very defined calf muscle, and then it's being pushed against his thigh, so it's making it look even more bloated than it probably actually is. Actually, it should be a bit lower. Onto the arms here. Hey, less than half, guys. You guys can do it. You got it. You got it. I mean, think about it. We still have over 10 minutes, and the last drawing session we had was 10 minutes long. So you literally get the amount of time that we just gave ourselves for the last one. It's probably the less talkative I've ever been on a stream before. I've never been so determined to try to get something done in the amount of time we have. Just because I don't know how you guys have been feeling about your work recently, but I definitely had a very low moment this weekend with the Kubo illustration and feeling like I was relying on a lot of old tricks that I swore to myself I wouldn't use anymore, and it just sucked. So now, coming off of that, I definitely got some good feedback from my friends, and I think that's one of the best reasons of having good close art friends around art, because they understand. They get that when you're having that low, how that feels and how to kind of combat that. So I'm very thankful I have them in my life, and now I just feel fueled to push my drawings, especially with my boss just gave me a new assignment, which is to design coffee bags, and it's this big illustration with a bunch of demons and kind of the same type of deadline where it has to be done by the weekend. And I'm really pushing myself to kind of redeem what I did with the Kubo one and give it my best shot here. Because truly, the only times you actually fail in life are when you don't try. So for me, I know that I had a day where I just needed to reflect on what I did, why I was upset, and just absorb it. Absorb that feeling of anger, of disappointment in yourself, and then use that in your next piece to be like, okay, now is your time to prove what you got. So try not to have a down day for too long. And if you really are feeling down, talk to someone about it, especially one of your art friends. They've probably been in that same situation many times before. And if they're having a good day, they can definitely help you get pulled out of having that bad day. Because truly, the people that become successful in this life aren't the ones that give up. They're the ones that will stick it through, understand that, yeah, they'll fail, but only the greatest people in the world, they became that way because of how many times they failed. I've been watching a lot of these like self-motivation help talks, and one of them was with Oprah and how she thinks she's the biggest failure she's ever known. Well, I thank you, Origami Kid, for following. And I truly believe that. I think the ones that make it in this life and make a name for themselves are the ones that have a really built up tenacity. They have thick skin. Nothing's going to hold them back. And it's really sad, but sometimes the people that will knock you down most aren't even the ones that you would typically think, like your rivals or the ones that you're doing art against. A lot of the times it's your closest friends and family. They're the ones that will tell you that your ideas are too big or that you're striving for a goal that's unreachable. And if enough people tell you that, you start to believe it. And this is where it actually breaks my heart hearing when I talk to people about this, is how they don't believe in themselves anymore. And a lot of the time it's because of how other people perceived their ideas and their dreams and just shot them down. And I think that's terrible. I don't know. If you ever catch yourself doing that to one of your friends, please just stop, because you don't know how much damage you could actually be doing. And until they become more confident in themselves, that could be really detrimental towards a life that, could be full of a lot of success and triumphs. But if enough people put them down and they don't have that courage and kind of self-acknowledgement yet, that could break them. So don't do that. Okay, now for his face, I'm trying not to be too detail oriented with this. I really want to capture more or less the lights that are hitting the forms. Okay, about 6 minutes left, everyone. Oh, there was another quote that I wanted to tell you guys because I really liked it. I think it was from Nelson Mandela. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was most people in life are disappointed not because they aimed for goals that were too high. It was because they hit goals that they set too low. And I thought that was such a good. I love that quote because it's so true. Always aim super high. And every time someone tells you you're crazy, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have told me they think I'm crazy. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I kind of am. Not because I actually think I'm out of my mind, but because I have an understanding of how to get things done and I've seen it work. It's like kind of like the laws of attraction. and it works. I don't know how to say it to you guys without sounding like a hippie, but I really believe in it, and I've seen it work. And I'm trying not to distract you guys too much because I know you're drawing too. So I'll try to be a little quieter. Well, I thank you, Amalthea13, for following. All right, let's see here. I need to look at my piece. All right, definitely the hands need some work here. I can see you guys doing the comments, and I'll definitely read them, but I gotta wait till after I'm done drawing. Oh, and I guess the last thing with the how to change that mentality with stuff, you got to get rid of the people in your life that are negative. If they're constantly telling you you can't do something or they're making you second guess everything you do, don't include those people in your life. They are a bad influence, and you become your social network. I forgot what the official title for that is, but it talks about how you want to surround. That's why you always hear you want to surround yourself with people that are better than you, because then in turn you will get better. And I found it to be very true in my own life and my own experiences. So even when you're surrounding yourself with artists, try to find people that challenge you, that are better than you, and create an atmosphere where you can grow and learn from them. And hopefully then you can pass on some of your growth and understanding back to them. Maybe they need to learn something from you. So it should be a give and take. But then when a friendship becomes more or less just always negative or criticizing, you don't want that in your life. Just get them out. Well, thank you, Jam and Kitty 614 for following. About 2 minutes left. Wow, time really went by fast on this 10-minute one. Or the last 10 minutes. I was feeling pretty good until just now. This is it, guys. Push, push, push. Man, where does time go, right? Ah, time up, everyone. But just like my days in college, I always gave it like a few extra seconds. Little cheater over here. Okay. Thank you, clock, for your participation. All right, so I'm not going to just cut the stream off right now. I'm going to first see what you guys were commenting so that you guys know that I'm not ignoring you, I promise. Angie Valda says, do not feel weird about drawing nipples, quote. Yes, I will own that quote. Do not feel weird about drawing nipples. Gonzaroloco says, hey, Tim, maybe this is a bit off topic, but how do you get in contact with company or studios you want to work in? Like not the act of contacting per se, but how you proceed to talk to them and not just sending them a portfolio and that's it. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, just never got in contact with any place to work in artistically before. So when it comes to getting in contact with places that you want to work with, you have to be persistent and you have to understand that for every 10 applications you send out, 9 of them will probably be rejected, if not 10. And it's the idea that for every application that you send out, or every application that you get rejected from, send out 2 more. That's always been my number one tip for people trying to apply in the industry. And I think you have to be persistent and constantly build up your portfolio. But how do you get in contact with them? It depends. I've heard various stories. Usually, a lot of the times, it's like who you know. So someone knows someone from the inside, and that's how they get their initial break. But for a lot of it is just emailing them. Usually the person in hiring, so HR, and just waiting to hear back, trying to cater your portfolio to the work that you're applying to. So if you're wanting to do something for Blizzard, you should include some pieces in your portfolio that kind of cater to that same subject matter and style. But I'm not going to say it's easy because it's really not. So be persistent. That's my number one tip there. Angie says time is going by too fast. Yeah, it's very true. No, guys, please do not be stressed out if you're looking at mine and looking at yours. Even I'm like, this is all right, I guess. But it goes back to the idea of always post what you work, because then after a while you start to see what's wrong with it, and you get this sense of always posting to the point of then when you actually do feel good about your drawings, you're already in the habit of posting. So it's not even like there's no trigger. Angie says, now I see why I call you Papa Von. You're a really great person to turn to when we need advice. Well, thank you. I would hope so. Kratos VC says, your guy looks like Freddie Mercury. He does, actually, a lot less hairy, but yeah, still looks like him. Gypsy Hummingbird says, important to add that family doesn't get a pass or immunity. Distance yourself from all toxic people, even if they are family. I think it's very disappointing when family is not encouraging you or not helping you on your path. And it's true. Like if they are another person that you need to maybe remove from your life, I don't think it's good to just remove them completely, but I think that depends per person. But just know, I know a lot of people that had to kind of distance themselves from their family because they were just such a negative influence. So it does happen a lot. Karu says, any idea where I can find a high-level art communities online? We're building this community right now. I hope that we can keep this going, and eventually it will be seen as more of a high art. And the one that I can think of off the top of my head would be ArtStation, and it used to be CG Society. Oh, what's the other one called? CG Hub used to be one. There are a bunch online. You just got to kind of pick and choose what one feels best suited for you. And then lastly, Devil Shan says, I wasn't paying attention to how you're drawing, but when I looked at your work, Tim, I see how much I still need to learn, but I had so much fun. I can't wait for another session like this. Good. That I should ask you guys. Okay, if you want to see another life drawing session like this, I'll maybe do one every season then. Let me know in the comments right now, and I'll be sure to include that in my routine of doing it every season. I do a critique every season. We could do a life drawing every season. And I usually do a basics tutorial every season, and then one on color. So those are usually the 4 I try to get or 3, I should say, if we don't want to do a life drawing one every season. But I try to fit those in at least once. And then there's usually the contest one as well. So thank you guys for coming to our first Twitch life drawing session. That was a lot of fun. And actually, I'm surprised that we didn't have too many snags. So that was pretty good. I think next time I'll find an image to reference from in terms of our model so that I'm not looking on Google for 5 minutes for a good image. But I want to thank you guys again. And please, 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 if you did this today with me, submit your drawing to that link below. I will be checking them out, as I'm sure a lot of you are curious to check out everyone else's. I think I will post mine, but I think I'm going to spend an extra 5 minutes. I know it might be considered cheating to some people, but I think there's some areas that I want to just explore with the lighting, just because I feel pretty good about the way I added the contrast, but I know there's areas now looking at it where I'm like, that feels so off though. Like, am I able to make up for it? So, yeah, that is our fridge. Digital apparently thinks there are 8 drawings that he did that are worthy of the fridge. I feel like I only did 3. Okay, it looks like you guys are saying yes. And Digital says CG Cookie is the best artist community. I definitely love the community we have. So cheers to you guys. I like the people that said 1 and 2. Oh, good. Okay, so it seems like you guys enjoyed it. Angie Valda says, does the Von House do Secret Santas? No, we all we give each other gifts, but last year I did a drawing for every one of my roommates. And then this year, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but it'll be something interesting. But just for you, that's how we spell Von House here. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you guys. I'm working on a material course along with a coffee bag illustration course that should be out either next month or in January. Well, the coffee bag one will definitely be out sooner than later. And we currently have the leather exercise that you can work on if that is something that you want to challenge yourself with a material understanding. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head. No, I think that's all I got. All right. Thank you guys, and hopefully we'll see you next week. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing, but I think I want to do probably the material study of leather. If I had to give you what I'm thinking right now, it'll probably be a leather live stream. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming, and don't forget to post, and we'll see you later. I'll post one more fridge before I leave, or 2 fridge, double fridge. Okay, bye. Bye.